Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Jay, aka the Ink Jedi. Welcome to the Comic Book Fiend Club presents the Fiend Cast. As always, I am not alone. I'm with my co-host.
Yo, what's up? Club Vice President, East Chapter President, Bataholic here.
Yo, the Comic Raider, just a nobody from the West Chapter.
Oh man, how's it going, guys, and everybody watching? Welcome. Give me a second here. Sorry for the delay, guys. That was on me. There was some technical issues going on at. Give me a second here. Sorry for the delay, guys. That was we had to fix it, and I think we did pretty good. It's done now.
Yeah, we're here now. Fuck it, let's roll.
Oh boy. Okay. What's going on, guys? Did you guys pick up anything good this week?
James, I'll let you kick us off, man. What you got?
Oh shit.
Anything
Okay.
good this week?
Let's see. Let's start off with. I got me a big ass motherfucking omnibus. Oh yeah. I know the West Chapter hates these, but I love them. I got the Batman and Robin one. Been hearing a lot about the series. Hadn't read it, only read a couple of issues, so I kept hearing about how great it is, so I jumped on that.
You're in for a treat with that.
Read it, only read a couple of issues, so you're a big fan of it. So I'm about 3/4 of the way through the Batman Morrison one, so then I'm gonna hop on that one next. Let's see, let's go over some eBay wins here. So I've been going crazy on eBay. Got 2 slabs coming in later, so I was able to pick this one up for a pretty decent price. The Batman number 366, which is Jason Todd in the Robin costume. And then I posted my Daredevil haul, but this is what I was really after. I got like 10 issues, but this is the one I wanted. And then I was able to pick up a 8.5 CGC of it. Yeah, that's pretty much it, other than some weekly pulls.
Damn, James, coming off of LA Comic Con, rolling. You just keep rolling, son. You're on a run.
James, you're
going
rich.
in debt real soon. Probably take a break till 2019.
Till next year. Perfect.
Oh shit. All right, I guess I'm next. So I had a pretty good run this week. I had a couple of decent pickups, and I had one awful pickup, but I did it for the collection. Some of you guys, you probably know what's up. When you go deep into a collection and you're committed to get the entire run or the entire collection, you got to do what you got to do, even for deep into a collection you're committed exactly like. So the entire collection. Sideshow just got done running their annual Spooktacular event, which they gave out free codes that if you kept up with it, there's multiple chances to get $1. Sometimes you could get $5, and that would all go in your rewards points. And your rewards points could be used for anything on their website, whether it be something in stock or whether it be something in pre-order. So I got enough points to be able to get a piece that I've been missing from my Batman Black and White statue line collection. I have the complete collection of all the first editions except for this missing piece. And then I noticed Sideshow had it for free shipping, so that meant that with my rewards points that I was able to get it completely for free. That's the only way I was going to buy this damn thing because it's god awful. But with that said, got it here to showcase now. It's the Batman Black and White Spy versus Spy statue. This line, if you don't know, goes in depth with the Batman mythos, has a lot of different character designs from a lot of different artist interpretations, it does video game interpretations, it's done the Arkham line, but for some reasons they tend to go a little off script, and they decided to do this mad Spy versus Spy Batman version. I don't love the design. I actually think it's awful, but to complete the collection I did what I had to do. So I got this one. I didn't pay a dime for it. I got it completely for free. So at least I can say I have the complete run. So enough of that shit, because that thing is awful.
Gosh.
Why do you hate it so much?
Because, I mean, you look at the rest of the line, you have statues designed by Jim Lee, Neil Adams, David Mazzucchelli, Frank Miller, all these historic Batman designs. And then there's so many different ways you could go with this. So many other designs they could have picked, but yet they decided to do a spy versus spy Batman version.
And that had to be like a collaboration with the Mad Magazine, right? I mean, have they done something like that before?
They have another piece done in collaboration with Mad Magazine. So I'm guessing they have some sort of contract in place that they have to do X amount of pieces. So they're probably doing what they can to fulfill the line.
Right.
A lot of these pieces you can tell in popularity by the price that if it rises in the aftermarket. This piece obviously did not rise in the aftermarket. It actually dropped quite a bit.
They're giving it away.
If any store or anybody invested in this to sell, then shame on you. You should have known better. But, with that being said, I had to own it, so they got me. They got a sucker, so it is what it is.
I'm sure that's going to be going behind all the other statues.
I haven't messed with it, but yes, it's going to go way in the back, dropped into the back, away from everything else. Not going to have the spotlight on it. Just get it away from me as quick as possible. But, now I can go back to saying I have the entire complete collection for, whatever the hell that's worth. But, it means something to me. Shit.
Right. That's awesome.
The only thing worse than that statue was that video you made on the club page going over that statue.
I tried to do it legit. I went live for my unboxing of it, and I tried to give it a legit statue review because the paint apps on it, the one that I got anyways, were awful. But yeah, the whole video, yeah, I agree.
That was fun. We'll have to do a whole Fiend cast about the fucking toe.
Maybe after a couple more beers, we'll see what we can get into.
Tell me about it.
But thank God that not only did I get that in a day, I got another piece, one that I was highly anticipating. You've heard the Fiend cast before with our special guest Joelle Jones. She has her whole statue line out. She's doing the Covergirls for DC Collectibles right now. She announced back in C2E2 that I attended that she was doing Catgirl as part of or Catwoman as part of the line. So, of course, I had to pre-order that, and it dropped the same day that I got this damn Batman black and white statue in. So I got the Joelle Jones Covergirls statue. It's a great piece. The paint is terrific on it. It has a lot of hints of blue, purple, little pink in it even. It's a smaller scale as compared to the rest of her statue line. If you get something like Mira or Supergirl, Harley Quinn in, they're a tad bit taller than Catwoman, but I mean, as a standalone piece, she really fits in great with my collection. She kind of goes in with the random assortment of statues that I have, but as big as a Joelle Jones fan I am, I had to have the Catwoman piece for sure.
Yeah, that's actually a really nice piece. I saw it when I went to a shop I frequent, and it was they definitely upped the price or whatever, but it's a really, really good looking piece, man. Just because the way she draws Catwoman is so unique, and it's just the perfect piece to have, especially from Joelle Jones, because she's hella cool.
No doubt. So I'm excited to add that to the collection. Glad I've got her displayed properly. I don't know if I'll add any more from the Covergirls line. There's a couple pieces I would like, but I don't have the space, really, to be honest. I could buy them and leave them in the box. It is what it is, but I like to get my stuff out and displayed. That's why you buy it. So
right.
If I get some more room, if I get an opportunity, I definitely would invest in the line, but as of right now, I'm just happy to have Catwoman.
Definitely. Awesome.
Where's it going?
I have a whole line up on my top shelf, just different random Batman pieces, nothing like sideshow or anything like that. So I've got her set in front row. If you put her in the back, she kind of gets lost because she's so small. So I've got her in the front row of that. She looks good. Nice.
Yeah, a front and center.
No doubt.
What did I pick up? Yesterday I picked up this Omni. It's the Conan the Cimmerian, Colossal Conan the Cimmerian. Can't wait to read this. Conan's awesome. I also picked up the Walking Dead Compendium number 3, so I have the whole set. They're down there somewhere.
Do you know off the top of your head what Compendium 3 collects?
No, not off the bat.
It's got to be over 100, right?
Yeah, it's definitely over 100.
Yeah,
it might. I gotta check because I was just, I always check the pages and shit just in case something's messed up. One time I bought an omnibus and it was shrink wrapped. I was like, oh, perfect, and I brought it home and the binding messed up. So like the paper fell out and the cover came off. And I'm like, wow. Shit. Yeah, I think the binding, it was actually, I have it here, it was the Justice League Volume 1. And I opened it, I'm like, oh, I'm so excited. That shit just fell off like that. I have to glue it back on or something. I don't know what happened. My wife was like, you should take it back. I'm like, I'm not going to take it back. I got it for $40. So I'll fix it myself.
There's a lot of rules for collecting Omnibus, man.
Yeah.
How to fucking keep the binding from separating, and now that I've started collecting them, I've had to fucking go to YouTube and look up a bunch of shit of, okay, well, everybody kept saying when you get an omnibus you gotta stretch the binding, make sure so it doesn't fall apart. I'm like, oh, stretch the binding, what the fuck? So then you start looking all that up, and there's all kinds of rules for storing it and making sure that they don't fall apart like that.
There's a omnibus group on YouTube I'm in. And they're a bunch of cool guys and gals, super helpful.
Is it Omni Bros?
Yeah, it's the Omni Bros.
Yes.
And then there's Omnibus Cafe. That one's the one I'm into. And, they're they have PDFs so you can make a custom dust jacket. It's just a bunch of shit you could do. So I definitely suggest you go visit and check it out. Because it's just a good group of people, and they have tons of sales, very trustworthy, and check it out. But yeah, with Omnis, they're super delicate. I never knew you should take the dust jacket off before reading it. That was one of my newbie mistakes when I started collecting them as well. Just take off the dust jacket and then read it and put it back on and store it away. The best place to go though to buy omnibuses.
Yes.
InStockTrades.com. I'm putting the link in the YouTube.
There is none better. InStockTrades. IST.
InStockTrades.com. Usually they already have up to 42 or 43% off of any new omnibus. So there's no reason you should be going to a local comic book shop and spending cover price. Save your money, buy a comic. Yep. Go to IST and buy your omnibuses. Let them know.
Amazon can't even beat their price.
That is true.
They can't. And when they come out, as soon as they come out, they're half off. They're 50% off. And then isn't it after a couple weeks or a week or two or whatever, then they drop to 42%.
Yep.
So if you get them right when they drop, which is Tuesday, every Tuesday they upload all the new ones, they'll be 50% off, and that's definitely when you want to strike.
And if you spend over $50, you get free shipping, and they know exactly how to package their omnibuses. They also sell trade paperbacks. They sell graphic novels, hardbacks. So I know you guys have ordered from Amazon. You maybe have ordered from other places, and they've just they haven't paid attention to the packaging. Your corners have been dinged. You order from IST, In Stock Trades. They will make sure to saran wrap it. They'll put peanuts in it. They'll make sure that your corners are not busted. They'll make sure everything is top of the line.
Yep. So that definitely is the place to go. Let them know we sent you on all your orders.
Right, Comic Book Fiend Club sent you.
What orders do you guys have coming up on In Stock Trades?
That's a great question.
Let's go. I'm a segue man here.
I'm picking up the Mutant Massacre. X-Men Mutant Massacre, and I still got to pick up my Deathstroke Omni.
Yeah, I got to get that.
And I think that's it for now. I just got to see what else is coming out next month.
I just had a big in-stock trade order, so I'm going to hold off until a little bit later. But in December, when the Super Sons Volume 1 drops, I'm definitely going to order that. I need to update my Batman Golden Age Omni collection. I think I need Volume 5. Even Volume 6 may be needed by then. I'm just getting ready to finish reading Nightfall Volume 2, so I need to order Volume 3. And hopefully I can still order Jack Kirby's Fourth World Omni. I may throw that in as well come December. I think Super Sons drops like December 18th or so.
Yeah, towards the end.
So that's the next time I plan to make a big IST order.
Nice.
Yeah, I'll definitely. I'll be getting the Super Sons. I just placed an order last week. I got the Marvel Knight series, which is basically going to be the Daredevil by Kevin Smith and Quesada. So I got that. I ordered. Usually, what I do is because they, sometimes it does take a little while. You pretty much, if you're going to place an order, make it a big ass order. Don't order a book and then next week order a book. Like one big ass order. So I'll get the Batman Golden Age #3. I did a Witches trade back, which is on there for like 99 cents
Cheap.
right now.
Yep.
And then I got a Kyle Rayner Green Lantern trade back because Kyle Rayner's the best Green Lantern. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, there's some good stuff coming out. We got, like Steve said, Super Sons, Batman Golden Age, Volume 6. Is it?
I believe so. Yeah,
yep,
it
Volume
should be
6.
coming out.
It's coming out. They're also doing another Conan hardcover that's coming out. Colossal King Conan. Definitely gonna pick that one up. Let's see what else.
Does anybody collect Absolute editions?
I think I might have.
I haven't.
I haven't yet, but I think. I mean, if it's something I'm interested, I'll definitely pick it up.
Yeah, they're doing I believe the Black Mirror in Absolute. So I think that's a little further down the line. That's into 2019, but that's probably something I'll definitely pick up.
Yeah, definitely.
So, real quick, are we going to advertise this as like the drinking show or no? Whatever.
We might as well.
Yeah.
Drinking show, here we go. Whatever everybody else is drinking, salute to everybody.
Hey, Steel Gang, Golden Ale, let's go. Big win on Thursday.
Puerto Rican rum, holla.
Guinness, Blonde, and Jameson, because that's how real ones do it.
Jameson, big ups to that.
Hell yeah.
Oh, Aquaman is actually getting a hardcover too. Maybe I'll pick that one.
Is it the new 52?
It's Aquaman Underworld Deluxe Edition hardcover.
I think I remember the new 52 run is getting an Omni collection.
That'd be good.
Definitely
That's a pickup.
If anybody is on the fence wanting to learn a little bit about Aquaman, and I think the new Aquaman movie is going to lean heavy into Jeff Johns' new 52 run, definitely highly recommend picking up that Omni. Dealing with the trench, all that. I think it's all going to play a big part in the movie. Definitely go to IST, In-Stock Trades, and pick up that Omni. I'm not sure when it drops. I think it's relatively soon as in relation to the movie, but great run. Definitely pick it up.
And speaking of trades that are coming out, there's actually some news that they're going to be coming out with some new classics that are going to be under the DC Black Label. They're going to be releasing a Watchman. I'm not sure if it's going to be a hardcover or a trade. But they're lining up the Watchmen, which makes sense because honestly, there's tons of Watchmen reading material out there. You have hardcovers, soft covers, deluxe editions, special editions, like you name it, it's out there, and they just keep pumping these out. Now that Watchmen's going to be a show on HBO, I think that's why again you're going to see another release of this book, which is a great book. If you guys haven't read it, go pick it up and read it. I watched the Watchmen movie. I enjoyed it for what it was. Watch the extended version. It's a lot better. But as far as the movie goes, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed how it was filmed and the cinematography and the action scenes and the story. But pick up the book. I remember reading it when I was really young, and I didn't get a lot of it. I was dumb. I was probably 15, 16 years old. And I read it once, and then I read it again a few years later, and it was just such a good read. So definitely go pick that up. But they're doing a ton of these new DC Black Label books. Grant Morrison and Frank Quitely's All-Star Superman is going to be the first one out. So definitely go to In Stock Trades, pick that one up, and enjoy it.
Yeah, Black Label's really going to start printing off some of these old DC books. I believe Batman Year One. I saw Lee Bermejo just announce that the Joker and Lex Luthor will get 10th anniversary editions on the Black Label. If you haven't read either one, specifically the Joker, definitely look to pick that up. That is one of the better stories that you'll ever read concerning the Joker. But there's a whole list that's going to go up on DC Black Label. I don't know if it's all prestige format. I don't know how they're imprinting it. Like I know Sean Murphy's White Knight just got imprinted, the trade paperback, on DC Black Label, so I don't know if that's how they plan to re-release them or if it's going to be more like Batman the Damned, that's in the prestige level magazine type format. But I mean, if these Year One, Dark Knight Returns, Dark Knight Strikes Again, any of those stories that you haven't read and they're coming out on Black Label, definitely pick them up because I mean they're must reads for sure. If you got to read them.
I'll pick it up.
Yeah, but White Knight. I mean, White Knight's a new one, but yeah, if you missed out on that, that's just a great read, and it's always cool to see like you take your character and then you kind of put this spin on it. You know, and in that one, it's all about, you know, Batman's kind of supposed to be almost like a villain in a sense, and you're supposed to, you know, side with the Joker, and the Joker's actually now turned into Jack Napier and how he's trying to save Gotham, and it's just a great spin on a story that we all know in a different take, and if you haven't read that, you definitely need to read it. It's only like, what was it, like 6 or 8 issues or something like that?
Yeah, I don't know the exact number, but when you can take these characters out of continuity and not be tied to continuity exclusively, and you can kind of create and warp your own story, but you can hold true to the mythos a little bit, that really allows it to open up and tell, in my opinion, a much better story instead of being tied to, you know, what this person's working on a year-long arc and you got to tie into that. Allow yourself some creative freedom to go in there and make your own story. And I think that's what DC Black Label is really aiming towards with that.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting. What else to say? So you guys seen this shit with CBCS and CGC? And CGC pretty much trying to run CBCS out of town.
Yep.
So for those of you who may not know, CGC is now accepting CBCS comics, graded comics at a discount. Is that what it is?
Yeah, they're doing a bridge service. So if you have a CBCS book, you can go and turn that into CGC, and they'll grade that at a discount service. They'll even give you another discount if the book grades lower than what CGC would normally grade it, or what CBCS has already graded the book. If it grades lower than that, then CGC will give you a discount. In my opinion, they're really going for the kill shot here. CBCS is kind of reeling right now. They don't have, from their move, they don't have enough staff. Their turnaround time has not been that great. Specifically more recently. So CGC is stepping in and they're developing and putting forth this bridge service, and they're asking you to turn in any CBCS books for grading, and with their discounts on everything from turning in the book to, you know, if the book grades lower, we'll give you a discount. I mean, it's hard to turn that down when you look on the aftermarket right now, and CGC is holding a higher value than CBCS. So how tempting is it to turn your books in to have them CGC graded? I mean, this, to me, is the kill shot. This is the one that wipes them out completely.
And just to answer the question, they will not honor signatures from CBCS to CGC. Even if it's a yellow label, they're not going to honor it. I gotta
one thing right there.
That is
them in business though.
Right. Right. I mean, for me, like, you see what CGC is doing. It's a smart move. I'm not crazy about monopolies on anything, right? I'd like to have different options, but I feel like if CBCS doesn't turn their shit around, they're gonna be left behind, and unfortunately, everyone will have to go to CGC because PGX. Let's be honest, that shit's not even in the conversation, right? They're not.
So you're saying I need my whole collection regraded then?
You need your whole collection of PGX comics regraded. PGX probably give you a higher grade. But like you're saying is correct. I see that even in the market or through eBay or anything like that, that these comics are going. CGC comics hold a higher value, and rightfully so, right? They've been around for a long time. They're very trusted. They don't cut corners when it comes to like their grading or anything like that. But I just
really with Bronze, Silver Age, Golden Age books. If you get into the modern books, you can see some similarities in between CGC and CBCS. And I agree with you. I don't like monopolies either. I like the competition. I like the back and forth. I like what CGC is doing here. But ultimately, I think this kind of kills CBCS out. I hope they answer. I hope they come back. Because I want that competition. I want them kind of going back and forth and feeling a little pressure. But if it is what it is, like I think it is, then that's the end of CBCS.
Yep, I agree.
I don't think so. I think they'll stay alive. So here, I'm gonna go on a little rant here. So number one, I think that the whole signature thing would be enough to keep them in business for two reasons. Number one is just the simplicity of getting to CBCS. And number two is you have all these different artists and writers who are boycotting CGC and, all that kind of stuff because of the way that all this goes. So I partly feel like CBCS will still be around. Maybe not on the scale that they are now, but I do believe that they might still be around. Now, I do prefer a CGC slab for sure. I think that they just look a lot better. They hold up a lot better, and everybody knows that if you're trying to flip something, it definitely holds a lot more value to go with CGC for sure. But I don't know that I would say that it's definitely like a for sure kill shot to them.
Right. I know
it may not be an exclusive kill shot, but when you see these cons signing exclusive deals with CGC and CBCS is not even in the building, I mean, the writing's on the wall.
I mean, even with their drop-off service, you know what I mean, where you can just bring your book to a con probably day one and get it back before the con's over, on the third or fourth day. I mean, that kind of stuff is pretty good, and people they're going to pay for it, I know we went to Baltimore, that CGC line was crazy, and it was right next to the CBCS line too, and which wasn't so busy. So, I mean, people trust it, people feel more comfortable with it. For me, like I said, I think competition is good. Especially nowadays where, let's be honest, people are more woke when it comes to collecting comics and looking up what they have and finding a ton of information online. First thing you're gonna see when you look up comic book grading is you're gonna see CGC. It's people trust it. So what happens is, you'll bring your slab to a convention, you give it to CGC, they crack it open, and then they'll take it from there. If your grade drops a grade, if your book drops a grade, they're only going to charge you $10 for it. And really, what they're doing is just, it's definitely going to kill the competition. And seeing people like reacting on the boards and on Facebook, on Instagram, seems like a ton of people are just going to jump on this one.
Competition is good, man. You got to have competition to, it makes you better. And so company-wise, like, to not have competition, if this really does kill CBCS and the others, that would actually really suck. Because if you don't have competition, then you have nothing to aim for. You have nothing to prove that you're better than, and they can just do whatever the hell they want. And we'll all just have that one source to go through. and so all that shit's gonna become, it's just gonna, my opinion, go downhill, because you have to have someone else on your tails to kind of motivate you to keep going forward.
Right.
James is right, and I think the number one thing that CBCS needs to do right now is to work on their turnaround time. If they get that fixed, I think they can stay in the game. But right now, from the stories I'm hearing, from the turnaround time, it's just awful. So why would anyone want to go to that service? So that's the thing they got to fix. If they can fix that, I really think they can stay in the game, especially with authenticating signatures. That's something that CGC just won't do, has no plans to do that I know of. So CBCS needs to work on their turnaround time, and I think they'll be all right.
I think so, too. I mean, I'm going to root for whoever sponsors us first. So if it's CGC, then go CGC. If it's CBCS, go. PGX, I didn't ask them yet, but I feel like if they sponsored us, we'll help their business.
Sure. And I mean, I love CBCS. I'm sorry, CBCS. I got to get this changed, but whatever.
Yeah, catch James at the next con while he's doing the bridge. The bridge program with CGC.
This isn't about comics, so I won't take too much time. But like the best example I could give of how no competition is bad for everybody else is, and you know what, you could come at me in the DMs, I don't even care, I'll argue with everybody all day long, but back in the day, let's rewind back to like 2005, football games, you had 2K series and you had EA making Madden, okay? ESPN 2K5 is one of the best fucking football games of all time, don't even at me. And then Madden and EA comes out and they just boom, crush them. Right. Now all you have is Madden, and let's be honest, Madden is trash in the extent of they don't really try every year to really up their game. As to where 2K5, was really like I said, it's one of the best ones in my opinion of football games. And what it did is when they took over, then they don't have anything to fight for. They can just literally make the same fucking game every year, and everybody's gonna buy it because they are the only choice that you have.
Right.
And that's exactly what would happen if you only have one company to go through for grading. They could take as long. I mean, let's change it up. They could take as long as they want. You don't have a choice because you only have one place to go through. Now, all those signatures and all that stuff, you don't have anywhere else to go through. So you guys got to think about that kind of stuff. Like, you need this competition.
I agree with you.
Argue with James. He's 100% right because I play both games. I know exactly what it is. I'm not going to harp on it, but he's definitely right. But, I mean, when it comes down to it, James, what are you going to go and get your books graded? That Poison Ivy book, Batman 181.
Well, look, it's going to change over, but I was going to tell that on. Come on now.
You know what? I can't wait.
I'll post it on IG like I bought a brand new one in CGC. Come on.
I can't wait for like the grades to come back higher and CGC charges more, like on every book they get now. It's fucking great.
They can charge whatever they want because they're the only ones that you'd have to go through. That's what I'm talking about. Like they could do whatever they want if they are the only ones.
Well, specifically the book you just showcased right there. I mean, that's the kind of book that you want graded by CGC, not CBCS.
It is beautiful. It's beautiful. But they do make supreme slabs. I mean, let's be real now. I mean, you have a whole fucking case behind you. They make better slabs for sure. No one's going to argue that.
That's true.
I agree. Right.
I mean, they got off to a little rough start this year. Remember they had those like fucking rings or whatever on their books? You guys don't remember that shit? It was a huge it would get like these weird circles on their fucking not on the case itself, but like inside of the plastic. The Newton rings, yep, that's what it was. So it seems like they fixed that and they're good to go.
Well, at one point, CGC took their books out of that protective sleeve that's in the case, and that caused all kinds of shit. And CGC had to go back, and they were even offering to do those books, to regrade those books for free.
Yep.
If you had books in that spot.
Yep.
So And I've got a bunch of books right now currently in the old CGC slab that I need to transfer over, but
me too.
I just haven't committed to doing that. That's something that I would want to kind of drop off day 1 of a con and pick up day 3 or whatever it be, but it's got to be done.
Stop fucking around and fix my slabs. I agree with you, man.
That's exactly what I'm going to tell them when I get in line.
I've been on this line for 2 hours.
Do you know who I am, motherfuckers?
Yo, speaking about Walking Dead, the compendiums I bought, last week was Rick's last episode. It's not a spoiler because they were fucking promoting the shit out of this, like, the whole month, right? Rick Grimes, the last episode in Walking Dead. And like I said, I'm not gonna spoil it like other hosts, but I will say that that news was pretty cool. It made me interested in the show again, to see where it's gonna go. But news broke this week, per comic book resources, because I always cite my sources and don't try to claim them as my own, that they are planning a trilogy of Walking Dead films starring Andrew Lincoln as the center. He's going to be reprising his role as Rick Grimes in these movies. I don't know what they're going to be about, but the first movie should arrive by 2020. But there's no scripts, nothing. So my thing is, I wonder how it's going to correlate with the actual show, considering the ending. So as far as like timeline and continuity, where it's going to take place, what it's going to be about, are they going to try to find some resolution to what's going on? For me, this is my thing. Like my grandmother loved to watch novelas. Love that shit. These things would go on for years. Even like American soap operas or whatever, 20, 30 years. Just like, I can't do that with Walking Dead. I want there to be a conclusion, a finish. I want to see something, right? Like, you already deviated so far from the source material that now you could just create your own thing. Keep them separate. Kind of, I think that's what they're going to be doing with the, what's that show that everybody watches? Game of Thrones, right?
Yeah, they're doing a prequel series to that.
Exactly. So do something like that. Like, okay, you're now completely deviated from the books. Now we could get something different on the show, and then keep the comic going if you feel like it, because it's different, right? People are going to read that. You get that, once a month, every other week, or whatever the hell. But with the show, I feel like there's going to come a time where your audience is not going to be as interested as they used to be. So, I mean, what are your guys' thoughts on that?
This is a tough subject to get in because we didn't exactly talk about what happened to Rick at the end, and I'm a little drunk, so I don't want to spoil it. But are these? I know that they agreed to 3 motion pictures. Is it 3 like actual theatrical release movies, or is it AMC movies?
Yeah, it's 3
AMC movies.
Yeah, AMC movies.
Okay.
Is it AMC?
Non-theatrical.
Yeah,
AMC.
AMC movies.
I mean, I guess they can. Oh shit! I don't want to go into it, but I just read about it. I kind of gave up on the series after Negan's debut, and spoiler alert, whatever happened to Glenn and Abraham and shit. But they can carry on what happened at the end of the last episode and kind of go into that story on how it got to the point that it got to.
Yeah.
Rick Grimes is someone that, I think it was Norman Reedus that said that that's someone you just don't want to kill off because that's a point that you can't come back from. That's a final point, and you don't ever want to box yourself into that situation. It definitely has me intrigued. I would probably watch those movies as compared to, not watching the show anymore, but I don't know. I just kind of lost interest in the whole thing. I've dropped watching the show after Negan's debut and what happened with Glenn. I've dropped the comic book out of my pull list. I'm just done with The Walking Dead. I mean, I hope it would capture me back, but after the first 100 issues, it's just lost me in general. But,
right.
You know, that's just me. That's just struck me.
I'll be the hater because that's what I do best. So I don't read the comic, and I stopped watching the show right around the same time that Steve did. So for me, a couple points that I think of is, number one, it's not really is it really a spoiler if you say that this is his last episode and then you say that a movie's coming out? Like, people should be able to do the math, fucking, you know, get the point. But anyways, to me, it doesn't. I understand that they didn't really probably advertise these movies until right after, so people did think that oh, what's going to happen to him and all this kind of stuff. But as with the same with comics and movies and TV, if you want that lasting impact, you got to make it. You got to make it end. And so, in order for Walking Dead to keep continuing, in my opinion, as someone who doesn't watch it, but that fell off because it just got boring, was you got to keep it interesting. You got to keep these characters that we love, and then you introduce them, and then we love them, and then you take them out. And so they've done a good job of that. They have to keep that up if they're going to keep this going. But in my opinion, everything needs to end at some point, and they have to come up with a way to end this. Please don't drag this on. Don't turn this into now we need fucking movies and TV shows and all this kind of shit. Like, have an end for it at some point in time. 3 movies, if they're all an hour and a half, 2 hours, that's a lot. To me, that's a lot.
Yeah, that's a very long time to kind of pay attention. I mean, speaking of long run times, you guys heard that the new Avengers film is going on 3 hours long?
Chad was right. Chad the man.
Yeah.
That's so far, right?
So far. I mean, they might have to cut it down, but man, it's excuse me, it's such a big story to tell. I feel like, with that many characters and that many stories going on at one time, I feel like it kind of has to be long to kind of bring it home. Especially if this is going to be the last Avengers film for a while, because again, I don't foresee this. I don't foresee the Avengers getting another film in the near future for a long time. You're going to get your Captain Marvels, you can get your Guardians. Hopefully, if they don't fire everyone in the cast. I just think that if they're going to take it home with this last film, then go for it. Like, make it as long as you want. Let's get a final resolution to this conflict. We already know Chris Evans is not coming back to play Captain America. We already know that Falcon and Bucky are going to get their own series. I believe in the Disney streaming service, possibly.
Disney Plus.
Disney
That's the
Plus.
Name of it.
Okay, yeah. And that's coming out late 2019 or early 2019?
I think it launches late 2019, and it's going to launch with the Loki series.
Nice. It's going to be Loki and Scarlet Witch, correct? Or just Loki?
Yeah.
I think it's just Loki. But, they're, like you said, the Falcon and what's his nuts, Winter Soldier is going to have their own series. It's just not been officially announced yet. So is the Scarlet Witch. I mean, that was rumored too, but so far the only thing we got officially announced is the Loki series.
Interesting.
Trash.
But to piggyback off your 3 hours of Avengers, I won't spend much time on it. I don't think, especially your first time go around watching the movie, you won't even notice the 3 hours. I think it's going to go by so quick. They got so much stuff to cover and to wrap up this story. I don't even think you're going to notice it. So 3 hours, I hope it holds true. I hope it is the longest Marvel movie they have, because they have a lot to tell. So I'm cool with it.
It could be 5 hours, and number one, we're all going to fucking watch it.
We're all going to think it's the greatest movie ever made.
Exactly. If it's not, if it's 3 hours, just be responsible. Don't drink. Don't eat before. If you gotta go take a piss, that means your ass needs to go back the next day and watch it again. You're gonna watch it more than once anyways. So, it doesn't really matter. Now, I think all the previous one was pretty damn long too. I don't know exact runtime, but it was pretty damn long. So, 3 hours has been done before, and I mean, like I said, we're all going to be there, and they have a lot to wrap up. Not only do they have to wrap up what's happened, they got to set up what's going to happen. And you're going to have, like I just mentioned earlier, you're going to have some deaths that are permanent this time. Like, people are going to die in this movie, and they're going to stay dead. And I mean, it's going to be a damn good movie. And if I'm in the theaters, I'm handing out fucking tissues to everybody that walks in, because we're all about to be crying like some bitches.
Will you hold me, James, while we watch this movie?
I'll be there for you.
That's the AMC dine-in theater experience right there. I don't know if you guys have it around where you live, but basically you go, you sit down on these awesome recliner chairs with your legs up. You can order drinks, you can order actual food, and just chill out and enjoy the film. So that's definitely one of those movies where that's a must see, must go to. AMC Dine-In Theater. Tell them the Comic Book Fiend Club sent you, trying to get that sponsorship money. Looking forward to that. So Green Lantern came out this week by Grant Morrison. James, I know you read it. I have it in my pile. I haven't got to read it yet. But can you give us your thoughts, as spoiler free as you can?
There's not that many spoilers to really give. This is definitely a setup series. I think that the art, I kind of go back and forth on. I talk about art because, to me, art and writing is all together the best. Some of my favorite comics is the two combine in such a perfect way. And so for this one, to me, the art, it's okay. It's not the greatest thing. It's what Liam Sharp is the artist, and it's kind of weird, but it's still good. The series is definitely, this first issue is a setup for this big story. It's definitely going to be kind of just Hal Jordan as a space cadet, which I haven't read it yet, but my understanding is the Jeff Johns series is exactly that. So that was kind of my confusion, is because I haven't read it yet. I haven't read Jeff Johns series, but it's almost the same kind of thing. He's going to be this space cadet. It's going to talk about, him outside of Earth and on Earth. But I think it was a good first issue. It's kind of one of those issues where you read it and you know that they're setting up a big picture. But I am a fan of his, especially, like I mentioned earlier, reading, the Batman. His Batman run is definitely a great series. So this is probably one that I will for sure read. Kyle is still the best Green Lantern of all time, but it's definitely something I'm still gonna check out.
That's a hot take. Shit, man. Oof. You can spend a whole show on that. Kyle's the best Green Lantern.
Yikes!
I've got the book. I haven't read it. I'm really pumped about it, but maybe that's something I'll do tomorrow on my day off, is check that series out. Anything by Grant Morrison definitely deserves to be in your pool. He's crazy, man. He's liable to pull some crazy shit that you're just not anticipating. So I'm really looking forward to that read personally.
Nice. I'm sorry. Go ahead, James.
No, I just said it was definitely good. Definitely, for sure, read it. Some people are going to keep it on their list, some people aren't, but I would say read the first issue, get an idea. This is going to be one where you have to keep it, you have to read the first couple. Don't just read the first one and then make your decision from there. This is going to be one where you got to read a few of them and then kind of start to decide whether you're going to keep it or not. But most likely, you're probably going to keep it.
Gotcha. Okay. I'm just looking up here. I saw a ton of people posting on IG that New York Comic Con tickets went on sale, or is it open registration?
I saw San Diego tickets went on sale.
San Diego.
Yeah, I'm reading now. Comic Con 2019 attendee badges are sold out. Yep. I don't know how fast they sold out. I'm trying to find that number now. People were saying that they were on the queue for hours, and that they sold out rather quick. Which is crazy, man. Right? Like, who would have thunk that it's such a race to try to get a ticket to go to the con nowadays, especially at such a big convention like San Diego Comic Con. I actually gotta say we get some press badges and get in there. You know, I feel like when I see stuff like that, it makes me feel like, wow, how far has this industry come now, where, you know, badges sell out in minutes, if not an hour, as soon as they go on sale, and so quick. Just remember, guys, like, there's other conventions you could go to. Like, don't feel so disheartened if you don't get to go to San Diego. There's a ton of other good cons to go to. I've never been to San Diego myself. I would love to go at some point. But, you know, it's so crazy that it sold out so quick. James, you're out there in Cali. Have you ever gone to San Diego Comic-Con?
No, I haven't been, and I probably will never go. For those reasons, number one, it just sells out, and it's not really worth it to me. And then I'm going off of all hearsay here, but my understanding of San Diego Comic-Con is that it's just become about the TV and the movies and all that kind of shit, and which is cool in the sense that it's become this big deal, but it's not really about just comics, and it's not really one that you're going to go to try to buy comic books, which is what I would be there for. I'm not the type that goes into the meetings with all the characters and the actors and all that kind of stuff. Like, that's not for me. So personally, I don't really see a need in going there. But I would like to bring up the fact that continuously this thing sells out as quick as it does, right? And you bring up the fact of how big can this get. I start to wonder about, like, do they change this? Do they make this, when a place starts to sell out like that and it's too compact and it's too big, it's too crowded, do they expand? At what point do they feel like, you know what, fuck it, let's go extreme, let's open this shit up, make it a bigger venue, make it, this giant event. I know that Comic-Con is an event of itself, but make it bigger. Take over a whole, section of, just an area of town or whatever. Just how big can this get? Video games becomes bigger and bigger and bigger to the point where now they've got, big ass tournaments and conventions and all that kind of stuff. Like, at what point does this grow, or does it just stay the way it is and it just sells out in minutes? And if you go, you go, and if you don't, you're screwed.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying for sure. I would love, like, I understand, going to San Diego, it's not all about the comic books. It's more about the media. It's more about the movies. It's more about, all the glamour that goes along with our community. But with that said, I would still love to go to check it out once.
Same.
I'm a big statue collector, so of course Sideshow puts on a big show during the event, so I'd love to check that out. A lot of the famous creators, writers, artists are always at San Diego, so I'd love to take my shot to meet some people that I normally would never be able to meet at San Diego. But at the same time, you can go to a show like C2E2, and you would have no problem meeting, you can make a list of the different artists, writers who are there, and you could probably meet them all throughout the entire weekend and not have a problem. But with that San Diego, you're probably making a list of one or two that you definitely got to meet, and that's the only thing that you're going to get accomplished the entire weekend. So in one sense, I would love to do it, but I think it'd be a kind of a one-time thing and get it out of my system and kind of move on.
Agreed, man. I think that's one of those kinds. Like you said, just to be able to go for the experience would be great. But I feel like after that, I would never want to go to again.
No, I mean, you hated New York. I mean, you probably would hate this the same way.
Yeah, New York has become it's not the new San Diego. I wouldn't go as far to say that, but we're pulling numbers in New York Comic Con that rival San Diego Comic Con numbers, and we don't even have that many great guests or panels or celebrities. I think the feature celebrity was the cast of Boy Meets World. I mean,
Topanga.
Yeah, they had Topanga, they had Corey, and they had Sean. Not even Mr. Feeney, but that's some of the featured guests that they had there. But again, like I said, to me, excuse me, it's just a headache. You can't really get anything done, or see anything, or do anything, or meet anyone. It was just,
yeah,
it was sad. It was pretty sad. But looking forward to C2E2. I've never been to a con, not outside of New York, but more outside of the East Coast. Period. So we're looking forward to that one. When's WonderCon? That's coming up down there too, right?
I believe usually around like the March, April time, if I'm not mistaken. So probably around there.
Are you guys planning on going?
Of course. Man, we're real ones. We're gonna be there.
How is that? How is that con compared to, let's say, like LA?
So I talked about this before. I mean, I've only been to now 2 LAs and 1 WonderCon, but last year WonderCon was better, both in the way that we planned our trip, so that's not on us, but the way that we planned our trip, and then the event itself and the organization of it was so much better. I'm going to go back this year, but I'm going to assume it's probably going to be the same thing. I mean, to be honest, WonderCon is definitely going to be better than LA, and that's just my opinion. I think that they get bigger people to be there. So, and for me, that's really it. I mean, I would like to go to C2E2 to go to you guys. I'm probably going to, ditch you guys for a day and try to cruise around and find, go to Iraq and try to find some of them rappers. But I definitely
I'll put you in the trunk, James. I ride around putting people in the trunk at C2E2, so I'll put you in the trunk.
Chief Keef is the shit, man. Chief Keef is man. So I'd love to go there and try to meet him, find him. I'll get a signature from him, and that'll be better than any comic book signature.
Oh, man. Speaking of comics, which we do here all the time, really? Steve, do you want to talk about a special comic that has been released recently?
Yeah, absolutely. We have a new edition of our club variant that has just been released and is up for order right now. I'll go ahead and show you the trade dress version of this comic, but currently, right now, we have the Virgin variant of this book up for order. Like I said, this is the trade dress, but if you have if you want to order the Virgin variant, it's $25. We have the information available where you can send the funds to if you're interested in ordering this book. This is our special club variant that's done by Counterpoint Comics. Marat Michaels and Brian Sharp have been awesome to sit here and work with us and to make this happen for us. So shout out to them and Counterpoint Comics for doing this for us. But if you're interested at this point, the information is available. You can DM me, you can DM Inc., you can DM the Comic Raider, and we'll point you in the right direction to make sure to order the Virgin variant of that book. $25 will get you the book shipped to you, no problem. So please hit us up. Let us know if you're interested, and we'll make sure that we get you a copy. We have a little less than, it's a 1 in 100 Virgin variant right now, and we have a little less than 40 available. So if you're interested, you need to hit us up right now if you want that book, or it's going to sell out. So please, let us know, and we got you.
Yeah, I have the photo up. You could hit up, send your PayPal payment to crimsonbatcomics@yahoo.com. Make sure to leave your name and your address in the description. I do not know when these ship. Steve, do you know? When are these supposed to ship?
We have the books in hand. We're just waiting for the material to be able to ship them. They should probably go out. I'm believing by the end of the week, this week coming up, they should be able to go out and have it in your hands probably before Thanksgiving. So if you're interested in ordering the book, go ahead and send the funds. We'll have them out to you. I'm guessing by the end of Thanksgiving, definitely by the end of November, no problem.
And these will definitely make a great Christmas gift for me. If you want to get me one, feel free. But now, how cool is that to be able to have this variant, this club variant? You know, you don't see too many of those often, aside from like I would say retailer incentive variants or retail variants. You know, to have a comic book Fiend Club variant, I think that's pretty awesome. I have the original variant, you know, slabbed and signed, and it's one of those that I won't be throwing up on eBay like everyone else probably has. You know, I actually bought mine off eBay. I bought it off some dude, which is crazy to me, but it's back home with a club member, so where it should be. Definitely go pick these up, man. There's, like Steve said, there's a couple left. Go show your support, buy one, and you know, send it to me if you want.
Yeah, if you pick up a variant and you're going to a con with Murat Michaels, I'm sure he'll remark it for you, man. Put a Crimson Bat logo on it.
That's
sure.
right.
Murat Michaels and Brian Sharp.
Yeah. And then if you get it signed, just make sure you do it with CGC, because they don't honor CBCS verified signatures.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Shit. What else, man?
I got topics. I'm gonna volunteer.
What's up?
All right. So since we're talking about variants, earlier in the chat, Little Boz, shout out to him. He said, he was talking about the Kirkham variants for this Batman Who Laughs. Any thoughts on how many Batman Who Laughs variants coming out? I feel bad for people who order Kirkham variants only to find out he's got a better one coming out Wednesday. So, I'm gonna talk about this one real quick. So for me, again, God, I hate being a hater because I'm really not. But
hater.
I'm gonna get the title. I'm gonna love the title. But as far as variants, I'm gonna talk about specifically variants right here. Number one, I agree that does kind of suck, and I experienced this same kind of thing. I'm not gonna say any names, but there was a variant that came out that was specific and exclusive to a certain group, and then they were limited to a certain number, okay? And this number was met, and then all of a sudden, other places started advertising that they had this variant. And then it's kind of seemed like, is this number really legit? Like, this is where the cap is at. So I know that feeling. It does suck that, you know, you buy something and then you got to fucking buy it again now because something better comes out, or, you know, something else comes out. But if I'm going to be honest with you, and this is as a huge fan of his, I have a bunch of his variants. I don't like the Batman Who Laughs one. I'm not a huge fan of the digital type. I know it's a 608 swipe, and 608 is one of my favorite covers. I have the shit in a slab here. But I'm not a fan of this digital type of art, the digital type of art that it is. But I think in general, it does suck that people, you know, got one and now they're going to get suckered into buying another one because this other version, which I guess is like the difference is a skull or some shit like that, is going to come out now that this other one sold out.
Like a Batman 50 situation.
Pretty much. And I mean, there's a bunch of variants. You got the there's that the variant of Joker holding Harley Quinn. There's going to be a variant like that. There's just going to be a bunch. And I mean, we've had, you know, conversations about variants and how overdone they can get, and it kind of just, but as long as people keep buying it, man, I guess you can't don't hate the player, hate the game kind of thing. And you know, this is going to be one where a lot of variants are going to come out, and if you buy them, you buy them. If you don't, you don't. I know for me, I'm just going to stick to the regular one.
Right. Shit. What about you, Steve? Picking up some variants?
Speaking for someone who bought heavily into Batman 50 variants, and I spent heavily into that shit. I've actually skipped out on the Batman Who Laughs variants. I haven't bought into those really. I had a coupon code for a Natalie Sanders Batman Who Laughs variant. I got that for pretty much at shipping. So, you know, at $4.90 something, of course I was going to buy it, whatever. But I've read that the Warren Lowe has sold out. I've read that the Tyler Kirkham has sold out. I've read that the Gabriel Del Auto set has sold out.
Damn.
A lot of these have sold out completely. So, you know, we can sit here and harp on variants and the amount that's being released, but at the same time, the numbers are showing that they're selling out.
People are buying them. To me, man, variants drive me nuts. So I don't know if you guys seen the Spider-Gwen Ghost Spider #1 variant that was released by Ji Hung Lee. It's a 1 in 100. This shit has been selling for on eBay bid-wise like $700. I mean, the last few sales have been tremendous, and just looking at like recently sold, that's what I'm gonna do now. Live, recently sold $500, $600, $700. I mean, just crazy fire. And I don't know. I feel like some people buy variants because they enjoy them. Then you have others that buy them just to hopefully make a profit off later down the line. Which if that's your thing, like, more power to you. But yeah, man, it's been the hype train has been crazy. And I know there's a ton of people that just don't like Spider-Gwen, which is fine. But again, these books are selling astronomically high, like these modern books. If I'm gonna spend $700, I would rather spend something like on a Silver Age book, or
exactly.
something like that, right? Something that I really want. But $700 for like a modern book, I just don't get it. Especially
I hope no one does that. I really hope.
Well, Alvaro's gonna do that shit. Wolfie Madison, he's gonna do that shit tomorrow. Watch.
I mean, like you said, I don't get it. I mean, if you're spending that much on it, it has nothing to do with reading it, right? You're not spending that much on a book because you're reading it. You're spending that much because how exclusive it is, or the art. And to be honest, if the art is really that much to you, you could I'm sure you could find some super HD print and frame that shit on your wall if the art is that good to where you're gonna spend that much money on it. Like, that's insane. So I would really be curious to have someone tell me why they want to spend that much on something like that, on a variant. We're not talking about a first appearance, that kind of stuff, because I get the first appearance one only in the sense that they think it's going to become something bigger later. But chances are these variants don't. I mean, you're talking about trying to win the lottery here. Like, again, if it's the art that you're into, buy a fucking print that shit on your fucking printer at home and frame it. Like, what is the point? Why spend that much money on that?
Yeah. Name a variant that has held the value that this shit is going for. Like, I don't know of a variant that's held that kind of value. Seriously, I have no clue. James, you look in the background, you have a short box of Detective 880, right?
Yeah, and I have the actual one in there too. But just
you buy that book at $2.99, or it's just a regular cover, and that book has blown up. That's what if you're going to invest that kind of crazy money in a modern book, to me, you'd invest it in that, not in these crazy ass variants that are being released. But Batman 50, it got me. I spent crazy amount of money because I have a certain mentality that, if I buy a certain artist's variant, that I have to have the entire collection. And nowadays they release a black and white, they release a trade dress, and they release a virgin variant for every variant that's being released. So I got suckered into that. I'm trying to completely hold out on that and not do that again. But,
it's hard.
Me again, I'll do it. I'm fucking crazy.
It's really hard. I know for me, like, I love hip hop variants, and I know some stores. Some stores have them, cover. Some stores have them a little more. I usually can say, okay, is this really they're gonna really keep this at $10? I'll just wait, and then maybe I'll come back 2 or 3 months later, and it's back down to like $3 or $4. Don't get me wrong, some variants are really dope. Some of the incentives, like the 1 in 100s, 1 in 500s, 1 in 1,000 or whatever, they're nice or whatever, and like, great. Like, if that's your thing, more power to you. Like, not even hating, but for me, if I'm gonna spend $700-800 on a variant, I might as well just buy something else I want. For example, I went to a comic shop yesterday, and they had a Showcase 22, and it was lower grade, but it's like $900. Before I spend $700 on any like new book, I'm gonna put that towards a book like that, because that's something I feel like I would want more. Because I'm just looking at a variant for the art, not really for the story. You know what I mean? I'd rather spend that type of money towards like a good solid first appearance than just the cover. You know what I mean? If that makes any sense. But like I said, more power to you. If variants are your thing, good on you. Like, hey, keep doing your thing. You know what I mean? But ain't no way I'm spending $700 on a book for a cover. I just can't do it.
Yeah. So in the comments, I mean, I've seen supporting the artist, and so like for me, like, I get that we do want to support these artists, and they are doing a hell of a job. But at the same time, like, we're not talking about a book that should be $4.99 becoming $25 and $30. Like, if you think about it, I mean, that's 5 times the amount that it should be selling for. But because it's a variant for that artist, now we're supporting the artist, and I'm okay with spending that type of money. You're talking about going from $5 to $700. I mean, I get that we want to support the artist, but goddamn, that much?
Yeah. You know what?
James, right.
For me.
You know what, though? Honestly, the artist ain't going to see any of that $700.
Right.
It's not. That's going to go into someone else's pocket. It's not going to go to the artist's pocket. So, to me, like I said, you know what I mean?
I don't know, but I'm thinking we need to start charging $700 for our variant, our club variant.
That's what I'm gonna do when I get mine. I'm gonna sell it for $800.
Hey, support us too, fuck.
Oh man. Let's see.
I got more if you're done. I mean, I don't know how long you.
No, keep going. I'm just waiting on this.
So I'm gonna go back quite a bit here. So I started writing down notes as Steve was talking and shit. So me and Steve were talking earlier, and he was talking about collecting. He was talking about how his Nightfall Omnibus set. He's got Volume 1 and Volume 2. Now, if you've read those, number 1 is great. Number 2 starts to become quite a chore to read, and number 3 is like holy shit. And I say this as a person that's great story. It's one of my favorites in the idea and the premise. I love Bane. He's one of my favorites, and the whole idea of breaking the bat, like, it's monumental. But if you're talking about reading the whole fucking series as a whole, the shit is rough. It gets rough towards the end. So, but it brings me to the topic of, I want to talk about completionists. And, you mentioned how you need to buy the 3rd volume because you just have to complete the set. And I know that there's a lot of people like you, because I'm one of them. And I want to talk about some series, or we could talk about Omnibus, we could talk about series, statues, whatever. But we I want to open up the conversation and talk about completing some shit. And are we a completionist? Do we have to have the whole thing? How far do you go before you draw that line of, I can't do it?
Dude, that is a great topic, and you're 100% right. And a lot of the shit that I've talked about today has touched on that shit. God, where do you even want to start? The Batman black and white statue series line. Like I said, I have the whole complete line of that statue series. But I felt the need to own that Spy versus Spy statue, and that thing is god awful, but yet I still had to have it. So that was the completionist in me. And just like the Batman 50 variant set, like I said, a lot of artists were releasing virgin variants, black and white variants. I couldn't just be happy with one of those. I had to have each one for each artist that released those variants. So being a completionist kind of eats at my soul a little bit. I have to have this shit. I know, like, I'm reading Nightfall Volume 2 right now, and I'm struggling to get through it. I have probably maybe 40, 50 pages left in it.
Jeez.
And it's not good. I just keep thinking about the other shit that I could be reading, and I was like, I got to finish this so I can get to the other shit, but yet it still makes me want it. Since I have Volume 1 and I have Volume 2, I've got to order Volume 3, and I've got to read it. So being a completionist is hell, man. It sucks. It's the worst. I don't know if anybody else is affected by this. I'm sure they are, but this shit sucks, man. It's costing me some money. It's costing me some space in my collection. But yeah. I can't get past it.
I mean, you have people like Mike who's like, why don't you just get like the whole run? Man, there's no way I'm gonna get a Fantastic Four #1 until whatever the hell is at now. There's just no way. There's no space, right? Which is why I like to collect like the trades or the omnis, you know what I mean, or hardcovers, because then I at least have it. Right now, I just finished. I got all the Walking Dead compendiums, you know, and I'm still just on the first book, but I'm finished it, so I know now when I finish 1, I could go to 2. And I finish 2, I could go to 3 and be all caught up. And I'm the same way. Like currently, I'm trying to get all the hip hop variants that are out. So whenever I find one I don't have, I pick it up. Even if I think it's ugly as shit, I'm still gonna buy it because I need to have it. It's more of a mental thing. I feel like hey, listen, like I started on this journey. I'm gonna see it through to the end. I'm gonna pick all these up, even if I don't like them. I'm gonna own them. Just because it's a goal, it's something you want to accomplish, and it makes you feel good. I'm sure anytime you order something and it feels good, that's you're getting that high off of it. You know what I mean? And that's why we do it. For example, I love Toy Biz. I love the Toy Biz line of X-Men figures and Fantastic Four figures and things like that. So I collect them all. I currently I'm missing the headquarters of the X-Men for Toy Biz, and I've been talking to a guy for one. He wants me to pay him like $200 for it, and I'm highly considering just doing it because it's just something I need to complete my set. It's not with everything, but it's with things that I really find myself passionate over. If it's something I'm not interested in, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to pick it up.
Yeah. So I'm going to talk about my personal completionist things too. But I'm going to ask you guys a follow-up question that I want you guys to think about while I'm talking is, I want you guys to think about where you've drawn the line. Where does the line become? Because I'm going to talk about both real quick. So number 1 is, for me, it's collecting the Batman rogues, and Steve's obviously a hero, and I have to, fucking get on this Fiend cast every time with him and look at his fucking background. But I get to stare at my case that's in front of me, and I'm quite happy with where I'm at, too. But that's definitely a completionist thing, is finishing all these rogues. And then some other things that I'm a completionist in is, now that I've gotten into this whole omnibus collecting, was completing, for me, it's certain characters and titles that I have to get. So right now it's getting all the Daredevils, and then I would like to do the same for Spider-Man and Batman and stuff like that. And the only reason why I leave out Batman is because there's a lot of omnibuses that are just garbage as far as the story goes, right. And I'm not ready to spend that money yet on something I'm not going to open. So I do have my completionist thing. I have a few characters that I have to one day. This is like talking grand scheme of things. One day I will have to have all of them, and that's Batman, Spider-Man, Daredevil, and Spawn. Like, I gotta have it all. I gotta have everything. And so I pick up every issue I can that I don't have, because I want the whole runs and I want the whole sets. And when I can complete a 70-issue run, I'm like, oh yeah, that's fucking amazing feeling. So, but where I draw the line is, I have a few things that I've drawn the line on. Number 1 is pop figures. I started getting into those a few years ago, and it started with getting all the different ones that I liked, and that's where I fucked up, is because I like a lot of shit. So then it was getting all these different pop figures, and then they just started coming out with everything, and I'm a firm believer in the fact of, if it exists, there's a goddamn pop figure of it right now. Everything has a pop figure. And if you like a lot of things, you're going to be fucking broke just on pops. So I had to cut back. And then it was, okay, I'm going to cut back on my whole completionist thing. I'm going to just get Batman ones. And then Batman kept coming out, and all the different costumes, and the animated series, and the movies. And I was like, fuck, I can't do this anymore. So I stopped. for Omnibus, for me, I draw the line when it comes to money, when it comes to a price. I get mine off of InStockTrades.com, your go-to place for trades in Omnibus. I get mine from there because they're cheap and I can get them. But I draw the line when the shit is out of print and it's too much.
Right.
Right now, I've got almost all the Daredevil ones that exist, with the exception of Shadowland, because it's not that great of a story, and I'm going to get it eventually. But again, I don't want to spend that much money on something I'm not going to read again. Number 2 is the Bendis run, which is out of print. The shit's like fucking $200 for number 1. Same kind of thing for number 2, and it's like, I'm not spending that much on it. No, I've read it. I have the trades. I enjoy it, but that's where I'm going to draw the line, is when I'm going to spend that much money on it. And so for me, it's all about, you just got to draw that line somewhere to where I say, okay, you know what? I can call it quits. I can be happy with where I'm at right now. And so I'd be curious to know with you guys, where have you guys drawn that line of, this has just gone too far, I'm in too deep.
Oof.
Fuck it, son.
Damn, yeah.
Kudos to you for drawing a line, dude. Seriously.
I have to.
Big props to you. I don't know if I've fucking gone up against the line or not, to be honest with you. Shit. The Omni thing, I'd probably draw a line on. There's a certain point that I probably wouldn't spend. Like the Batman and Robin Omni that you just showcased earlier. That's something that I desperately wanted. I missed out on in-stock trades. I did a quick Google search, found it for a little cheaper somewhere else. So I definitely ordered, but at some point, if I couldn't find it for the price that I wanted, then I probably wouldn't have ordered. But I mean, my God, I ordered the Spy vs. Spy Batman Black and White, so I can't talk about lines. I don't fucking have them.
That was what, $80? He said that was $80. I mean,
yeah, $80 in rewards points.
Yeah.
I could have bought
fucking $80 is chump change to me. Let's just be real. So,
big Bob.
What an ass.
Fuck it. He doesn't give a shit.
Okay, let me ask you this. Okay, that's Spy versus Spy. If that was hundreds of dollars, would you still have done it? That's what I'm talking about, where the line gets drawn. Like, at what point would you have said, I'm not getting that thing?
All right, so you talked a lot about the Rogues Gallery, right? I have a lot, and I have a lot in high grade, but I don't have Riddler. I don't have Two-Face. I don't have, obviously, the Joker, Catwoman, that kind of shit. That's a whole nother level, but let's take Riddler and Two-Face and Penguin, for example. That's shit that I just can't get to that point to spend that kind of money to get those books. Like, I have a hard line of having them in a 7.0 or above, and I can't agree to spend the kind of money to get those books. So I see what you're saying. $80, yeah, maybe it's not shit to me, but for this statue that I'm looking at right now, it fucking sucks. I'm pissed off that I spent rewards points on that statue when I could have maybe got the new Batman Premium Format statue for maybe $200, $180 off. Instead, I'm staring at this damn thing, and this thing's freaking awful, but
you just got to do it. You got to scratch that itch.
I mean, that feeling that you completed it, like, that's worth it, though, isn't it? I mean, to an extent, like that. That's how I feel. Like, and I know Batman 50 variants. I mean, we keep talking about it. You spend a lot of money on that shit, and let's be real, Batman 50 is not going to be worth a goddamn thing. But you have it all, and so for that one, I mean, does that compare with that statue? Like, you have these Batman 50 variants. They're not going to be worth shit, but you have them all.
Yeah. For the statue specifically, like, I have the entire statue line, and I've spent a lot of money on that statue line, and there's a lot of pieces that are worth a lot of money. So yeah, it is kind of worth it for me to be able to say I have the complete collection, the first edition, regardless of the statue. But when you look at it specifically one-on-one, yeah, it fucking sucks. But to be able to sit there and say that I have the whole statue line, yeah, it's probably worth it. And that's why I did it. That's why I pulled the trigger, pushed the button, and got the piece in. So, it is what it is.
Exactly. Jay, what about you, man?
Man, it's a thin line. It depends. When it comes to omnis, I remember paying about like $250 for my Infinity War omnibus. Just because it's out of print, I couldn't find it. But then you have something like a X-Men Volume 1, that's almost at $400-$500. And you're just like, fuck. Like, if hopefully they make a reprint, like a second issue, a second print of it, much like they did with the Fantastic Four. Like I have the first edition, it wasn't covered, but I paid a little more for it. My wife paid a little more for it. And then there's like the Journey into Mystery, the Thor first volume, which again $600 I've seen it go for. These are books that I want, but not books that I could see myself spending that type of money on. Jen will kill me. B, what's to say I buy this book and then it comes out? Same shit happened with Infinite Crisis. I don't know if you remember that book. For a long time was hard to find and was out of print. Come to find out, they just re-released it on In Stock Trades, and I got it for like $80. Yeah. That's my worry. See, if I decide to spend the money, let's say on just for the sake of argument, spend it on a Daredevil #1. I know that even if they reprint that comic, it's still not going to hold the value that book would have. You know what I'm saying? So it depends. It's where I'm deciding to distribute my funds. So for me, like I said, it's a thin line. I think the most after that I probably paid was like $200. Infinity War was like $240, $250, and then Infinity Gauntlet, I'm sorry, and then I got the Hulk Volume 1 probably for like $200. Just because again, another book that's not always easy to find. But again, if it's past that $200 mark, I really don't want to sit on it. I don't want to buy it, so I'll just move on and put that money towards something else.
Yeah, see, your line is much bigger than me as far as Omnibus goes. I mean, for me, like I said, I'm new to it. This is something I pretty much like literally just started getting this year. I haven't paid cover for a single one of them, but at the same time, none of them are even at cover. You know what I mean? Like, they're all the ones that are just out there. You could find them, that kind of thing. I think the only one I spent cover on was Daredevil, the first omnibus, and it's the original, cover to #1 on there. Then they have the Alex Ross variant, and I got the original one for cover, and I was good with that because it is, up there as far as worth a little more. And then you get into the whole variants of fucking Omnibus 2 people. For those who don't understand that fucking omnibuses have variants too. It's fucking ridiculous.
Right.
So, anyways, I do have that line, and my line is definitely a lot less than yours. And I know for me, I think in what little I've learned, only as someone who's been in it new. Now, had I been in this for the last 3, 4, 5 years, it'd be a different story.
Right.
But as someone who's into it newly, in my time collecting, I've seen, you just mentioned, Infinite Crisis has been reprinted. Now I have it. The Amazing Spider-Man by McFarlane run has been reprinted. Now I have it.
I have it too.
And that's why I'm drawing the line on this Daredevil Bendis, because I keep hoping out that one day they're going to reprint that shit. And I am totally fine with the reprint, because for me, I'm getting them because I do want to read them.
Because you want to read them.
Exactly. And that's for me. I get them because I read them. And I know that there are omnibus collectors who collect them in the same sense that we all collect comics. I collect my graded, slab Batman Rogues, and I don't open them. I'm not going to fucking crack the shit to read it. But that's why I get the omnibus, so that I can read these stories and know what they're like. And so, yeah, my line is definitely a lot less. But, I mean, that's why it's cool. I was curious to know. And for Pops, it's like, Pops is just fucking ridiculous, like I said.
Yeah.
And all that shit starts to add up over time. And I still have, to me, what is a bunch? I'm at like probably 60, 70 maybe, and I've just cut back big time. And same with Marvel Legends, and I've had to draw that line on Marvel Legends where, and I think we talked about this last episode, where like I'm not getting whole waves and all that kind of stuff. Like I want to focus on things that I get, and I think just like quick little segue real quick. It's for anybody new out there that's collecting. I don't know how many people are watching right now, but anybody new that's collecting, collect what you like. Collect what you want so that when you look at your shit, you go, I love this. I love what I have. I collect it because I want it. And when you do that, when you make that when you make that change, you're so much happier with where you're at. And it's easier to draw those lines and say, you know what, I'm not going to spend that much on this because I need to get that Batman Rogue later this year.
Right. And that's where I'm at too, where, so when Secret Wars came out, like the new one, I'd call it 3 just for argument's sake. I was probably buying every single variant that probably came out. Like, it was a part of my pool. Luckily, my comic shop always charged me cover for them, so I never overpaid for any of them. But I realized, like, why the fuck do I have all these variants when I just really want to read the story? Like, why? Like, I get it. I like the cover. But if I ever needed to get rid of them, I'm not going to get what I paid for them, right? I'm just going to be sitting on them. So then I developed that philosophy, like James was saying, like, collect what you like. Collect what makes you happy. If it makes you happy collecting a ton of variants, just fucking do it, dude. Like, don't listen to me. I'm just salty. Like, if you like variants, go for it, bro. Like, I'll give you an example. Right now, I'm waiting for an auction to end on a Deadpool #2. The hip hop variant, a 1 in 100. I'm ready to put some money down on it because I need it, because it's a hip hop variant. That's my line. Like, I need this one, so I'm ready to pay the bucks for it. But again, it depends what you like. You know what I mean? Like, Steve loves Batman. He loves Wolverine, so he collects Batman and Wolverine.
Because I'm the biggest Wolverine fan in the world.
He likes Wolverine because everybody else likes it. He doesn't give a fuck about Wolverine.
No, I give a fuck about the Wolverine because I'm the world's biggest Wolverine fan.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Seriously.
Pretty much.
So I gotta collect Wolverine. Big ups to, Logan. What's up?
But yeah, man, I mean, just collect what you like, man. Be happy. Enjoy it. I want to read the stories, so for me, the best place to do that is collecting the trade, collecting the hardcover, collecting the omnibus, and that way you have it. You could just read it whenever you want, and at your own pace. You don't have to, like, put them in a long box, and it's too much. It's too much work.
No, I agree. We gonna keep going or what? Where are you guys at? We cutting it?
I'm good. I'm good to go, bro. I'm just waiting for this.
What about you? You're looking like you need another beer there.
No, I'm out, but let's keep rolling, son.
I mean, we could take like a little 30-second time out, go grab another one. I mean, I'm sure the people will be here.
I mean, I don't have any in-stock trade commercials loaded on. I'll make one tomorrow. Speaking of which, tomorrow we're working on a video of I went to Royal Collectibles out in Queens. I'm going to be doing a video on their shop. I talked to the owner. So I'm going to be doing a review of that local comic book shop. So you guys can check it out. I took some pictures. I got some video. I'm going to tell you about my experience there and why I enjoy that shop. We're hoping to do more spotlights on these comic shops because I think it's important to educate people out there. I mean, there's literally people from all around the world listening to us. So if we could give that information out to you guys, I'm sure it'll help you. It's important to support your local shops.
And I'm sure he's sending me the Sideshow new Batman premium format statue too.
You got it? You got it on pre-order?
I'm trying to sell my old school one, the OG Batman PF, before I order that one. But we'll see. I'm not a very patient motherfucker, so look for that new unboxing later on.
Right. So I'm just gonna skip to the chat real quick. So Ben Demon Hunter said that he started his first pull list, is the way that I read that. He said Border Town is my first pull list, and that's a newer book. So I don't know if you guys are reading Border Town, but Border Town is a series that's coming out from the Vertigo line under DC, kind of like an umbrella under the DC umbrella. And Border Town is pretty cool. It's like about there's definitely some like political aspects in the sense of they're getting into some topics about it takes place in a town that's on the border of the U.S. and Mexico, and then it deals with some of I'm trying to think of the word, but like chupacabras and in folk tales that are going on, that have come from the Hispanic culture, and I think it's a great story so far. There's 3 issues in it, if I'm not mistaken. I've been reading it. The artist is Ramon Villalobos, who I'm from Stockton, California, and he's from the same place. So I get to see him at pretty much every Stockton con because he always is there. And it's definitely just one of those things where I'm totally down to support his art. He's a hometown hero, if you will. And it's just really cool to see him on that kind of thing. One of his other ones was Marvel, and it was I think it was Black Hawk, and same thing. It kind of dealt with the same kind of thing. He was a superhero that almost like a Batman or an Iron Man in the sense, but he was fighting against these cops and everything like that who were crooked, and then the series didn't last very long, but like he drew this character with fucking Yeezys, and he was stomping cops that were killing black kids, and like it was just it was a different, it kind of opened up that spectrum for comics. And another one that he said he was reading, I think, was Heroes in Crisis, and I know that Steve, I believe you're reading this if I'm not mistaken. And I finally caught up because the last Fiend cast I got fucking reamed by everybody because I hadn't read it yet. So I did read it this week, and that's a great freaking story so far. Only 2 issues in, but that's great.
Yeah, I do. I love the Heroes in Crisis storyline. Like you said, it's only 2 issues in, so if you haven't picked it up, definitely go to your LCS and get the first 2 issues. Should be available. Who knows where the storyline's going to go? It seems to lean heavily into Booster Gold and Harley Quinn and their roles in the storyline, but I don't want to go into too many spoilers. There's a lot of deaths. I don't know how it impacts the DC universe completely. If those deaths stay permanent, which never happens in comic book world, but they're impactful for sure, especially issue 2. So definitely, I definitely recommend picking up that book, picking up that series. Go to your LCS, get issues 1 and 2, see where it's at, read it for yourself. I'm pretty sure you're going to add it to your pull list.
Yeah, I mean, I'll try to keep it I'll keep it spoiler free for sure. So in the first one, some of the deaths that took place weren't like super duper major characters, and in the second one, you kind of had maybe 1 or 2 that were kind of a little bit bigger, and so it was like, man, is this gonna be for reals or not? And again, I've already mentioned this like 3 times in this Fiend cast. Like, if you want to make the shit impactful, you got to keep it permanent. And I know that we're into a hobby that this stuff doesn't stay permanent, but I don't think that it will be, in the sense of there is a number that they're getting at. Like, there's quite a few that have happened so far,
right?
But basically what it boils down to is, again, without spoiling it, is this sanctuary pretty much has been created to kind of give superheroes a release, a way out, a place to take a break and kind of deal with their inner demons and relax from the stress of life and in their case, superhero world. And something happens and things kind of go to shit, and this place is compromised, and it kind of makes you wonder, as this goes on, are we entering that? And comics have kind of dipped into this a little bit here and there, but are we about to deal with our next? Are we dealing with our next big comic that delves into real life? In society right now, we have a lot of issues with mental health and all that kind of stuff. And this seems like this is going to be not just something that kind of talks about it. Like, this is a book that's really going to focus on that. And how well does it get received is really going to determine how long this goes. But I think it's it's going to be good, and it depends on how long people stay with it. Because I don't know that people, some people get into comics because they want to get away from exactly that. They don't want to read comics to get into this kind of stuff. They want to read comics to escape. But at the same time, comics do kind of have to talk about this kind of stuff when it becomes as big as it's becoming.
Right.
That's my two. Raiders Rants, Fiendcast, hashtag Raiders Rants.
No doubt, look him up. No, he's serious. Sometimes people look into comics to have an escape from their everyday life, but sometimes people look into comics to have something to relate to what they're going through, and I think Heroes in Crisis can kind of touch on that a little bit. If it's going where I think it's going and it's touched on the issues that it's touched on, then I think that's definitely the series you want to look into, because it delves heavily into the mental health issues, like James said, specifically how that impacts your heroes. That's something that you definitely want to expand on. It's something that I haven't really recently read in comics, so I think that's an awesome storyline to touch on by Tom King. And I think that DC Comics, Tom King are on the right track with this Heroes of Crisis.
I mean, I agree with you too. I mean, for me, I always enjoyed when a comic can mirror real life and touch on real life issues and things like that. Whether it's like drug addiction, or mental illness. For me, those are the ones I feel like people can relate to the most, right? And I do get, people just want to escape and just want to read a good story. But to me, a good story is always one that could teach you a lesson, whether it's good or bad. And I haven't read Heroes in Crisis. I do have the first two issues. But I just remember reading, books growing up and dealing with, either drugs or dealing with, like one book that really got me was I Kill Giants. I remember just reading that and just being able to relate, and feeling what this character was going through. And to me, that's, when you can relate yourself to a character, whether they have powers or not, right? I mean, I can't compare myself to Superman. I can't fly. I don't have super strength or speed or whatever the fuck. But I can relate to them emotionally, on an emotional level. Then those are the ones I feel like I could probably relate to, the most. We all know Batman, what happened to his parents. He lost his parents at a young age. I also lost my parents at a young age. So to me, I could always relate to Batman's struggle with that, right? Because as much as, he's so badass and he's smart, he still has a soft spot like that still hits home for him, And for me too, again, anytime, I bring them up, or anytime you think about them, anytime it's Mother's Day or Father's Day, you think about them and it hits home. And I know Batman has those same issues that he's dealing with, So again, it's, we may not be able to relate on a power level or an intellect level with a lot of these characters, but we can relate to them in an intellectual level, because you can say, hey, I know what this person's going through. What I mean? Like what, I remember reading a book, like what if Daredevil wasn't blind? And then it was basically that he would be afraid. They call him the man without fear. But now that he could see, he was afraid. He was scared. Because now he actually saw what he was dealing with, saw what he was doing. And to me, like I said, those stories are some of the best.
No, they definitely are. I mean, look at stories like DKR, look at stories like The Watchman. Would they be as popular as they are unless they had current undertones that reflected to the current time that they were written in and published in? DKR relaying heavily into the politics into the mid-'80s. The Watchmen, the same. Would those stories resonate the same unless they unless they captured the audience that was going through that specific time. Whereas you could have a basic, superhero story where they, stop the planet from colliding to Earth or whatever. That's not exactly relatable as compared to having stories that, can relate to the everyday time, the everyday man, the person that's going through the situations they're going through.
Yeah, I know. For me, it's at the beginning of this episode, I talked about getting the Batman and Robin omnibus, and I want to read it for two reasons. Number one is just because I know it's a great read, but number two, and the more important one is, I had my first child in June, and I named him Damian after Damian Wayne, and now these things kind of impact me a lot differently, and so I'm really looking forward to reading that story and getting the idea. And a big one for me is Saga. Saga is a great fucking story, and I can't say it enough. And it deals with family, and it deals with the relationship between Marco and Alana and their child. And now I have a different perspective to read it with, fighting to keep that family together and all that kind of stuff. And so for me, it's like, when comics impacts your real life, like, that is a big difference. And I think it's a good thing when they kind of bring these type of topics into comics. Now, it doesn't have to be oversaturated. I think that's sometimes where comics may become too much, and that's a whole nother fucking Fiend cast when we start talking about when comics have overdone it on certain topics. But
right.
When they kind of just bring in a certain one, in this case, we started this with Heroes in Crisis, and just it's a topic about mental health, and you kind of just bring it in with one issue. Now, this doesn't mean that every fucking comic that comes out now has to deal with this shit, but to have a couple that do, it makes a big impact, in my opinion. And especially, as comics get bigger and bigger and bigger and more mainstream, these are things where people can look back on and say, you should read this. You should look into this. Even if you've never been into comics before, you should read this, because it might make a change, it might make a difference. Right.
Right. And I remember just one of the first books I read was The Death of Captain Marvel. Man, what a sad book. There wasn't anything I believe it was just more flashbacks than anything else. But, you have this person on their deathbed, and they're being visited by their friends, by heroes, and things like that. Another one is that Spider-Man 9/11 issue, where everyone's clearing. I was at 9/11. I was around the area when it happened, and till this day, it's hard for me to watch anything related to that, just because it brings back a ton of anxiety. But I remember with that comic, there's a panel where you see a bunch of the villains helping too, and they're trying to clear the rubble, and they show one panel, and you see Dr. Doom crying, basically saying that these aren't people, these are monsters who could do such things, and that hit home for me. But it also helped me heal, right? It also helped me take my mind away from that, and also helped me to just move on. I would say, just because it was such a hard time to deal with that, especially being a New Yorker. Comics help, man. I'll tell you that right now. You could be going through something, and you could pick up a book or Omni or trade and kind of drift away into another place and not have to worry about things right now. And I think sometimes for me, that's the best mental break I could have, is just picking something up, reading it, and kind of just getting lost into it,
Yep.
I definitely agree, dude. You can read Nightfall Volume 2, and you can definitely get lost in that shit, because it doesn't relate to anything.
Reading the Nightfall series makes you want to go back and deal with your real problems in real life. Shit.
I'm so scared that you said Volume 3 is worse than Volume 2 because
it's been a while, but yeah, I remember, man. It was like, and Volume 2 is so great, man. Fucking Bane and just, it's a great story. I guess if anyone out there hasn't fucking read the thing, just Volume 1.
Don't read it. What are you talking about?
Read Volume 1. Go on Wikipedia. Watch the fucking third Christopher Nolan Batman. Like that's about all you need.
Oh God.
Just read Volume 1. Forget the rest. Azrael takes over as Batman and he goes fucking ape shit crazy, and then the third one's fucking Batman.
Volume 1 is legit. It's really good read.
It is.
Oh gosh, you guys are terrible.
That's a whole nother Fiend cat. We'll have to break that shit down on a whole nother.
Yeah.
When you finish it in a year from now, let's have another Fiend cat.
Deal. I'm with you.
Jeez. That's so good. That's so good.
How long are we at now? I mean, this is like our best. I mean, we'd have to ask the chat, but I think this is our best episode so far.
I mean, we're reaching Avengers Infinity War time right now.
From what I see on here, there's still 23 people in here, unless I'm wrong.
We're at 110 minutes, which is great because we haven't done a show consistently in a while, and that's my fault. I mean, we just have a lot going on club-wise with enrollment and, choosing people and dealing with a whole bunch of other stuff, but we'll be back more consistent. News was kind of slow this week. I think going forward, we're going to try to just pick a topic during the week, 1 or 2 topics, outside of news to discuss and talk about. I would like to bring you more news about variants, speculation books, maybe see what books are rising, what books are not, or are declining in sales, to try to do more of an educational thing. We want you. Yeah.
I mean, if I'm gonna ask this now, so that way people have time to comment back. But if you guys want reviews of polls, and it doesn't have to be polls, it could be old shit. I mean, I'll fucking do one on Nightfall. I don't care. Trade.
I'm with you, dude. I'm with you.
Omnibus weekly shit. If you guys want reviews, just let us know. That's what we're here for. We're doing this every Sunday, but if you guys want a review on a certain thing, hit one of us up. I'm not going to say that I read everything, but I feel like I read a decent amount. And if you got something really, really good that you want me to check out, I have no problem, biting the bullet, and I'll read it for you and then tell you that it was shit and save your money. And, and we'll make those. I have no problem making those kind of videos, but, obviously we want to do what you, the audience, wants. And if you guys want it, just let us know, and I'm totally down for that.
Definitely, we could do that. And if any topics you want us to discuss, you could always just shoot us a DM, shoot me a DM, the club a DM, and we'll do our work and try to find out as much as we can about it.
If you're wanting to see that new Batman Premium Format Sideshow statue done in unboxing and review, please hit up my wife at TD Eventer on Instagram. Tell her to buy it for me for Christmas. And that we'll make sure we get that up on the page
right away.
Proper review. TD Eventer on Instagram.
Oh, also, guys, we have a new channel on Twitch where we're going to be doing some gaming. It's the Comic Book Fiend Club. I will probably be playing live some Red Dead Redemption tomorrow because I'm off from work until I start my new job. So I'll be doing some of that. We'll probably be streaming some games Friday night or Saturday night. We like to get on there.
Fallout 76 will be on there.
Fallout 76 will be there. I'll be playing along with Steve and whoever else gets the game. I've never played a Fallout game, so it's gonna be a shit show. Get ready.
There's just so much. I won't get this next one, not because it's a bad game, but because Fallout just takes so much fucking time.
It takes a lot of time.
West Virginia, son. West Virginia.
I already got Red Dead. Red Dead's a big ass game so far, and I already knew when I got Red Dead, I was like, there's no way I can have the time to play fucking both of these. Hell no. So jeez. Red Dead got the nod because that's my shit, and Fallout, unfortunately, is going to have to...
If you want to see me not know what I'm doing, tune in every time. I'll be playing some Red Dead tomorrow. I still have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm going to try to complete this whole game. It's probably going to take a lot of time. And then Fallout 76 is going to come out, and then I'm going to forget about Red Dead and be playing that with Steve, because I definitely won't know what I'm doing. But it's a lot of fun. We'll be interact with us in the chat. We'll talk comics. We'll talk life. We'll talk whatever. Yeah, that's it. That's it for me anyway.
Yeah, I don't really have much going on coming up. I don't even have any really cool mail calls or anything like that, so should be a quiet week for me. We'll just see what's up.
Yeah, and most definitely, man, our thoughts are with the people out in California too. That fire is still blazing. So we hope you guys stay safe out there and be careful. Also, we want to give a shout out to all our veterans who are watching, following us on Instagram. Our very own veterans in the club, Boogeyman and KJ. As far as I know, Ron Jam. Thank you guys for your service. Really appreciate it. James is going to buy you guys omnibuses from In Stock Trades. So just send them what you want. And I think that's it. Make sure you hit up the club page on Instagram, Facebook, Comic Book Fiend Club. Make sure you buy your variant. Again, those are selling quick. So make sure you grab one. And I think that's it. You guys have anything else?
Make sure you go to instocktrades.com for all your trades and omnibus.
Yeah.
Now that I've been drinking tonight, I'm probably going to be up for a little while, and I'm kind of bored. I'm just going to be reading some books. So, I mean, DM me. If you want to talk shit, I'm ready. I know I spit a lot of opinions out tonight, so feel free to argue. Let's do it.
DM the Comic Raider, make him go live on the club page and do another question and answer.
He could do a live read of his omnibus, whatever you want.
Starting on Wednesday, I think I'm going to be giving live tours of West Virginia on Fallout 76. So hit me up, Bataholic. I'll give you a live tour of the Dove V. Other than that, I don't have shit going on. Club variant, hit it up, get that Virgin variant, get it in your collection. Let's go.
All right. So with that said, guys, I'm going to wish everyone a good night. Be safe, and we'll check you out next week. Peace.
Peace.